Howdy, Aggies. My name is Andrea, and I'm an international studies major from Sugar Land, Texas.
Howdy, Ags. My name is Michaela Sladen, and I'm a junior child professional services major from St. Augustine, Texas.
We're very excited that you all are here. We want to welcome you to the Aggie family. Today, we're going to talk about how we can create a welcoming community for everyone and how each one of us adds to the diversity of Texas A&M. So why talk about diversity? Diversity prepares you for the workplace and the world. While here, you will develop the skills to work with a variety of people from different places and of different identities, which will increase your academic success.
I know that you are all excited about going to school at Texas A&M University, getting that Aggie ring, getting that degree, and landing that dream job. Before we do that, we're going to have to learn a few things. Learn about job skills we need from our classes, learn how to work with a variety of different people through organizations, and learn a little bit about ourselves. This will allow us to reach our goals of graduating from Texas A&M University, securing an incredible position in the company of our dreams, and immersing ourselves in diverse experiences. Respect isn't just important at Texas A&M University. Companies also want these characteristics in their employees. Let's take a look at some diversity statements from places where you might want to work. ExxonMobil, the diversity of ideas, perspectives, skills, knowledge, and cultures across our company facilitates innovation and is a key competitive advantage.
NASA. Diversity and inclusion are integral to the mission success at NASA. It is incumbent on every member of the NASA community to advocate for, promote, and most importantly, practice the principles of diversity and inclusion in everything that we do.
Apple. The most innovative company must also be the most diverse, because we know new ideas come from diverse ways of seeing things.
Land O'Lakes. The success of our system is dependent on a combination of diverse new perspectives.
Mayo Clinic. Diversity and inclusion are integral to provide excellent, culturally relevant care in a welcoming environment to patients from a wide variety of backgrounds and creating an inclusive work environment where differences are valued.
Texas A&M University welcomes and seeks to serve persons of all racial, ethnic, and geographic groups as it addresses the needs of an increasingly diverse population and a global economy. These companies have one thing in common, an appreciation for diverse people and what they can bring to the table. Here in Aggieland, we will support your dreams and give you the tools to build the skills needed for whatever career you choose.
Being an Aggie comes with a lot of pride, care, and respect for one another, just like in many other families. We want you to be proud of your Aggie family, and we want you to know that your Aggie family is proud of you too.
I'm sure you've heard how strong the school spirit at A&M is and about our core values. One of the most important Aggie core values is respect, and that's what we're here to talk about, what respect means to the Aggie family.
Respect probably isn't a new concept for you, but we want to emphasize that the need for respect on college campuses like ours is great and real. We know that college students have been hurt or have hurt themselves because of being humiliated or harassed. We know students who have felt excluded and unwanted because of hearing racial or sexist slurs directed at them. And we know students who have been the victims of crimes because of the way they look or dress or because of languages that they speak.
We unfortunately see acts like these on our campus and on college campuses around the country every day. The bottom line is, though getting a college education means being introduced to new ideas, people, and places, acts of disrespect are still likely to occur on college campuses, even this one. Disrespect is not an Aggie value.
Texas A&M's expectation is that all Aggies develop the skills to dialogue across lines of differences with respect. The university is a marketplace of ideas. You have the right to free speech. As an Aggie, there is an expected level of civility and responsibility.
We will now show you a video of our university president discussing the importance of fostering a diverse community.
Howdy. At Texas A&M, we stand for respect for all. Our university is strongest when everyone is empowered and motivated to follow their passions and achieve their goals. And your education is the best when that is happening. Our best work is done when diverse talents and perspectives are valued. We have made many strides in these areas, but always have more work to do. I encourage you to make it a priority to learn more about diversity and inclusion efforts on campus. Find opportunities to make a difference. Step out of your comfort zone, learn about the experiences, struggles, and triumphs of people who are different than you. Be open and willing to listen, even if you might not agree. We value healthy discourse here, even disagreement, in developing lifelong learning skills such as effective listening and critical thinking. Intellectual challenge and robust debate are welcome, indeed encouraged. Our most basic missions to teach, to discover, to learn require the freest and fullest exchange of ideas possible. We can be provocative without being uncivil. We can take ideas seriously and assess them without always agreeing with them. We all benefit when we interact with and learn from those holding many different perspectives and beliefs. Respect is a core value at Texas A&M. Aggies come from many parts of the state, the nation, and the world. I encourage you to uphold the core values as you explore your own beliefs and opinions and listen to those of others. Thank you.
Texas A&M's university's leadership values respect and the diversity of people and ideas. Respectful dialogue allows all of us to learn and grow for the better in our personal, academic, and professional lives. These values will set you up for success in Aggieland and in your future.
Not everyone perceives respect and disrespect in the same way. Let's give you a couple of examples. For us in the United States, if we do not look at someone in the eyes when we are talking to them, people may think we are lying or being disinterested. But in many countries, looking at someone in the eye is a sign of disrespect and aggression. In Texas, we are told that to be polite, you should say yes, sir, or yes, ma'am. But to a New Yorker, for example, they may think that we're calling them old.
From these examples, you can see respect is not the same for everyone. Respect is a complex topic. However, the two most important things we want you to remember are, first, when you're at Texas A&M, you have the right to be respected, regardless of your personal characteristics. Your race, your ethnicity, your gender, your sexual orientation, your politics, your religion, your opinions, your socioeconomic status, your ability or disability, any personal characteristics. You should be respected and you should expect to be respected. Second, you have a responsibility to show respect for everyone around you. Doing otherwise goes against Texas A&M's core values.
Our next video will discuss the history of Texas A&M University, beginning when we were founded in 1876. I want you to notice that as the world has changed, Texas A&M has changed with it, diversified, and grown for the better.
Texas A&M University was founded in 1876 under the Morrill Land Grant Act, an act which provided support for colleges of agriculture and mechanical arts. The act was a catalyst for the development of higher education in the Midwestern and Western states, and allowed each state in the nation to provide quality, accessible education to its citizens. Texas A&M began as an all-male military school, opening its doors to about 50 students. However, throughout its years, women had a presence on campus. Daughters of faculty members took classes at the college, and other women proved to be valuable contributors to the institution and its students. Two change agents in the history of Texas A&M were also graduates of the institution: Earl Rudder, president of the college, and Sterling C. Evans, president of the board. In 1963, under their leadership, the board approved racial integration and the admission of women to study at A&M. These changes, though unpopular, helped grow the school from the fifth largest college in the state to one of its premier universities. After the doors of admission were opened, many students continued to be agents of change. While not always easy, their efforts revolutionized the quality of life for future generations of Aggies. Since its founding in 1876, Texas A&M has evolved to keep up with the changing student body and changing times. It is through diversity that we became excellent, that we grew, and that which has resulted in the Texas A&M of today, a Tier 1 university that is designated as a land grant, sea grant, and space grant institution with an enrollment of more than 68,000 students.
Can you believe how much Texas A&M has changed since 1876? We started out as a small, all-male military school, and now more than 140 years later, we now have an enrollment of over 68,000 students, with 47% being women, 129 countries represented, a branch campus in Galveston and in Qatar, and we are consistently ranked as one of the top 20 public universities in the country. We've become a university that fulfills its land-grant mission, which is an institution intended to serve not only the state of Texas, but the world at large.
Our university president talks about our university history in this quote. Let's see what he has to say. Years ago in our community, and sadly on occasion even now, we see the ugly reality of discrimination. When we see it, we do not need to hide from it, but to call it out, to refute it, and to stand for respect and love for all.
It is important to acknowledge history and do better moving forward. Because of our history, our mission, and the global society that we live and work in, we have to have an understanding of diversity. Let's take a look at what we mean when we say that word. The inclusion, welcome, and support of individuals from all groups, encompassing the various characteristics of persons in our community. The characteristics can include, but are not limited to, age, background, citizenship, disability, education, ethnicity, family status, gender, gender identity and expression, geographical location, language, military experience, political views, race, religion, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, and work experience.
With this definition, there are probably a few things that you notice. First, almost everyone notices the long list of identities and characteristics. All of you are included in this list. For example, everyone has a geographical location, everyone has a socioeconomic status, and everyone has an age. This definition seeks to include all members of our community, so you should be able to see yourself in this definition.
Second, look at the first sentence and the words inclusion, welcome, and support. They are action words. It is up to us to actively find ways to include, welcome, and support all members of our community so that everyone has an Aggie experience that is memorable.
Oftentimes, people don't realize that they have excluded someone. What may have excluded someone could have been what someone said or didn't say, or a certain look, or their body language. This happens because people look at situations only through their own eyes, and because it did not happen to them, they may not see how others might be impacted.
Here's an example of how perspectives differ because two people can look at the same thing and see two different things. I'm about to show you a picture of a woman. Once you've looked at the picture, you'll get to tell me what you see. So, do you only see the old woman? Do you only see the young woman? Do you see both the old woman and the young woman? I will now show you how to see both women. To see the young woman, zoom in. This is her entire face. Here's her nose, her chin, her neck. Here she has a necklace. This is her hair. This is her ear. And this is her hat. To see the old woman, zoom out of the picture. This is her entire face. Here's her large nose with a wart right there. Here's her eye. Here's her wrinkles. This is her mouth. This is her chin, her hair, and her hat.
This is a simple example to introduce the point that we all see and interpret what's around us in different ways. We also may perceive things differently in our social interaction because our life experiences, our backgrounds, and our culture shape the way we perceive and judge certain things. This is called our cultural lens. We all develop one as we grow up. We will now show you an example of a cultural lens from Aggieland.
The hand gesture you see on the screen is the Gig'em sign. Here in Aggieland, it has a very positive meaning and can be interpreted to mean, good job, go Aggies, I just got my Aggie ring, and so on. But the same sign means something obscene in Australia or Nigeria. In Germany, it means 1. In parts of Asia, it means 5. And in American Sign Language, it means 10. If you're by the side of the road, it means, hey, can you give me a ride? This is one symbol that communicates different messages, all depending on the perspective of the culture in which it's viewed.
So as you see, you cannot assume that when you're outside of Aggieland, that people will understand what you mean with this gesture. At this point, we're going to have some other A&M students help us out with this presentation by showing you several video segments. These students will tell you about their Aggie experience, and we'll start with some of them telling you about their cultural lens and how it impacts them at A&M.
I'm a full-time wheelchair user here on Texas A&M's campus, and even though I'm in a wheelchair, I'm still very involved. I actively participate in my sorority, Delta Zeta. I hang out with friends, and I go to class like any normal person would.
I am an Asian American who is not Chinese, Vietnamese, Japanese, or Korean. I am Lao. I'm also gay and in the College of Liberal Arts. I am Buddhist, I love to sing, and I play tennis.
I'm of mixed heritage, Irish, German, Polish, and Native American. I like to embrace all of those around me and enjoy the little things in life. In my free time, I play with my dog, read books, and hang out with my friends.
I'm an African American student who grew up in the suburbs all of my life. I'm not very religious, though my family is, and I'm an advocate for those with disabilities, and I'm currently raising a guide dog in training. I love to sleep, eat, bake, and color.
I have a form of autism called Asperger's syndrome. It has affected my ability to make friends and my proficiency in classes. Despite these challenges, I found ways to become more involved on campus, such as being a fish camp counselor.
I am a female Mexican-American first-generation college student, and I come from a low socioeconomic status. And despite what you may think from that, I enjoy watching Aggie football, I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I love listening to Drake, playing guitar, and visiting local coffee shops.
I'm a Filipino American and a Christian. I'm an international studies and English double major. I enjoy spending time with my friends in a laid-back setting, either going to the movies together or eating out at restaurants.
Hopefully learning about these Aggies' cultural lenses have helped you realize you don't know what people are about or what experiences they have had just by looking at them. Here in Aggieland, you have the power to challenge your assumptions, reject them when you find them to be false, and to expand your experiences and perspectives.
Even though we all know that it is important to respect one another, acts of disrespect still happen. We may notice or not notice certain acts of disrespect. Sometimes an act of disrespect is so obvious that anyone witnessing it sees it for what it is. But other times, acts of disrespect can be quite subtle and difficult to see if we're not a member of that target group. In other words, just because you don't notice something offensive or hurtful doesn't mean it didn't happen.
The impact of these acts tend to add up. I'm going to give you an example that I think we can all relate to. You wake up one morning, and as you're getting out of bed, you stub your toe. Of course it hurts. You don't think anything of it and go about your day. You head out for class and catch the bus to get to campus. As you sit down on the bus, someone walks by and steps on that same toe. You wince a little, but let it go. You arrive in your class, and your neighbor is pulling this giant textbook out of their backpack, and guess what happens? They drop it on your toe. By this time, you're getting annoyed, and your toe really hurts. After class, you head over to Savisa to meet some friends for lunch, and as you're standing in line for your food, someone walks by and, you guessed it, steps on that same toe once again. At this point, you yell and scream and let them have it. Of course, everyone thinks you're overreacting, but they don't know the story of your toe that day.
This concept of the same thing happening over and over and over again is called the pile-on principle. If people do little things to you all the time, it builds up, and at some point, you might find yourself blowing up. Others might think you're overreacting, but they don't realize you've heard the same thing 1,000 times, and it can be exhausting. What is more damaging is the long-term effect of these incidents piling on. You start to feel like you don't matter, or that something is wrong with you, or that you don't belong. Keep the pile-on principle in mind as you watch this next set of videos.
People ask me, "Where are you from?" And I reply, "Fort Worth." And they say, "No, where are you really from?" Can't I just be from Fort Worth, or were they asking about my ethnicity? Because they're not the same thing.
I have witnessed others subject Muslims to racial and religious jokes. I hate when other people discriminate against innocent people. Everyone has their own lives and should be able to live it to the fullest, even if that means practicing a different religion.
Often people have called me an Oreo or have said that I'm whitewashed simply because I don't act the way they think a stereotypical black person should act. This makes me feel uncomfortable in my identity because often I find myself trying harder to act as I should, though there's not any one way for a black person to act. Just because I'm smart and educated doesn't mean I'm not black enough.
I do get some very personal or demeaning questions just because I am gay. So some people will ask, who's the man in the relationship? Or also, why do all gay men sound the same? And this can make me feel very embarrassed or very uncomfortable.
People often assume that just because I have a physical disability, that I have a mental disability as well. I can usually pick up on this because the pitch of the voice will rise as they are talking to a dog, or they'll talk slowly just so I can understand. This makes me feel unvalued and undignified as a human being, and it's hard for me to engage in these conversations because I don't feel respected.
As we all know, there was a lot of people on this campus, and I had a seat available next to me on the bus, and it was very, very crowded. And so I tapped a student and I said, "Hey, I have a seat next to me that's available. You can definitely take it." And the student said, "Well, I don't like sitting next to you." And I said, "Okay, is there a problem? Like, did I do something? Like, I apologize." And the student said, "No, I just don't sit next to your kind."
Have you ever witnessed an act of insensitivity? We know that acts of insensitivity still occur. I wish they didn't happen, but the first step in stopping them is to recognize them.
Let's make this more personal. Think about a time you may have been the target of an act of insensitivity of any kind. Now think to yourself, how did it make you feel? Now think about if you've ever shared a negative experience with someone and they dismissed it as unimportant. Sometimes people minimize or dismiss the negative experiences of others because it did not happen to them and they may not see the impact. But it doesn't change the fact that it still hurt you. Dismissing the experiences of other people is another way of victimizing someone, and it's disrespectful.
Between the stories in the video and your own personal reflection, we have seen that many different types of disrespect and insensitivity are still happening. But we as a university community are trying to be better than that. As Aggies, we have the duty to respect each other and to build a more supportive, successful environment. So, how do we do that?
We are now going to hear from some students about what they have done and what advice they have for you to create a community of respect.
Having authentic conversations with different people and believing their life experiences can make an enormous difference in a more inclusive campus community.
What Aggies can do is expose themselves to cultures and identities that they do not possess. Get to know people who are different from you by sitting next to someone different in class, sparking up a conversation, and taking courses about culture, race, or religion.
There's a plethora of intelligent and accomplished Black scientists, theorists, engineers, doctors, lawyers, and authors. So I challenge all of us to learn more about Black people who have influenced society for the better and to not view them in a stereotypical manner.
I hope the Aggie community can look beyond the disabilities and understand that just as someone is practicing their piano skills and their free throws, that I'm practicing my social skills. Take time to get to know me. I take longer to process certain social situations. Be patient. I already have enough casual acquaintances. I'm looking for people who walk the walk and talk the talk.
Realize that just because it's not your normal, it doesn't mean it isn't someone else's.
Please ask questions to those in different communities than you, but please make sure that the questions are appropriate for the time and situation. Get to know somebody before you ask personal questions, and also genuinely be interested in the answers.
Those with a disability want to feel included. This does not mean pitying them and putting them up on a pedestal, but simply including them in everyday activities. One of the things my friends tell me is that they like that I don't care what we do as long as they are sure to include me.
I think that every Aggie, when meeting another Aggie or another person in general in the community, should respect that individual regardless of any identities. Whether you can see that identity or not see that identity. Just treating everyone as a person. I think that's the number one step and the first step that we need to take in creating a community of respect here at Texas A&M University.
Since we are aware that acts of bias and discrimination still occur, it is important to know how we can interrupt them. We all have different barriers that get in the way. It is important to reflect on which barriers affect you the most. We're going to give you some examples of common barriers that people face.
Some people are scared. They might fear that the harasser might turn on them too. And in other cases, bystanders remain silent because they believe someone else would do something. Still others question whether they can make a difference, but it's important to remember that even small actions can make big differences. Next, bystanders might remain silent because they do not appreciate the severity of the harassment. They might brush it off as no big deal. And finally, other bystanders do not take action because they view the harassment as culturally appropriate. In this case, the harassment has occurred for so long and without pushback that people come to accept it as the way things are.
Bystanders should know the following 4 points to be well equipped to move from inaction to intervention. 1. Know how to identify harassment. It can take many forms, and the targets can vary. It might be blatant or subtle, and the bias can range from slight to physical violence. 2. Know your identities and roles. In some cases, directly intervening might actually escalate the situation. In other instances, you might share an identity with the harasser, thereby affording you the chance to de-escalate the situation by talking with the harasser or engaging in a way that others simply cannot. 3. Recognize your personal barriers. Knowing these and being self-aware will allow you to choose the best course of action moving forward. And 4, when you see harassment occurring, choose one of the 5 Ds we discussed next. The important thing is to do something.
There are several strategies you can use to intervene, which are referred to as the 5 Ds. The first is direct, for direct intervention. There are risks involved, but you might find it best to directly intervene or clearly state that what is going on is not okay. Keep your comments short and to the point, and if the person responds, check in with the other person or people involved, rather than engaging the individual or people who are being hateful. Distract is the second D. The goal is to interrupt things by speaking with the person that is the focus of the discriminatory, hateful behavior. Ask for the time, pretend to be lost and ask for directions, or strike up a random conversation. Any of these will change the topic and potentially stop the harassment. A third option is to delegate. Here, you ask a third party for help. Contact the professor or lab director. Call the office manager. Tell the driver of the bus. Alert your department head. Talk to your resident advisor. All of these are steps to get other people involved.
Fourth, you can try a delay tactic. In this case, the harassment has already occurred, but you can still take action. Ask the person that is the focus of the discriminatory, hateful behavior about their well-being and how you can help. Let them know that you can take them somewhere or accompany them. If you recorded the incident, ask if they want it. Finally, you can document the harassment. It might be helpful to record the harassment as it occurs, but remember a couple of points. First, make sure all are safe. Also, ask the person that is the focus of the discriminatory and hateful behavior if they want the recording. Do not live stream it or post it without their permission. Doing so might make them feel powerless. You can also document the situation by submitting a Stop Hate report at www.stophate.tamu.edu or by filing a report with the university's Office for Civil Rights and Equity Investigations. As these examples illustrate, there are many ways bystanders can act. The key is to do something. We can all take some steps, even if they are small ones.
During this presentation, you heard a lot of ideas about what you can do to create a community of respect. We want to summarize some of these for you. To create a community of respect, you can expand your knowledge base, become aware of your own biases, be mindful of the language you use, don't ask others to speak for an entire group, avoid stereotyping remarks, interrupt jokes or hurtful comments, speak up, don't be silent, and use resources available to you.
Take a look at our website, www.dms.tamu.edu. There, you will find information and resources that will help you throughout your time here at Texas A&M University. You can look through the listed programs, activities, and ways to get involved. Also, take a look at our department's page in your new Aggie workbook to learn more about how you can create a community of respect. All of these resources can help you acquire the skills necessary to work in a diverse workplace down the line.
We want to make sure that you're aware of some of the offices and resources on campus that may help you in your efforts to make A&M a community of respect. Offices are responsible for providing programming and services or serve as a way to connect students with the campus community. The Department of Multicultural Services provides multiple support services for students from underrepresented populations and offers a variety of diversity education presentations and workshops for the entire student body. The Office for Diversity provides many resources, including our diversity plan, campus climate information, statistics, and information on diversity-related programs.
Disability Services facilitates appropriate accommodations for students with disabilities. And the LGBTQ+ Pride Center is a resource and referral center for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender Aggies and their straight and cis supporters.
The Veteran Resource and Support Center and the Veteran Services Office provides uniquely tailored resources and programs to military-affiliated students. The Women's Resource Center is the home of multiple programs supporting women's leadership.
In addition to the offices mentioned, we want to point out a specific website to be aware of should you need to report anything. The Stop Hate website is an anonymous reporting website that students, faculty, and staff can use to report acts of insensitivity or bias. You can also report concerns on the Texas A&M app. Just go to the Report a Concern icon.
In addition, the Department of Civil Rights and Equity Investigations can receive reports of discrimination or harassment based on any of the items listed. All of these resources exist to help you and all other students feel welcome within the Texas A&M community.
So, we have covered a lot of information. We want to remind you of the two main messages to take away. 1, you have the right to be respected no matter who you are. And 2, you have the responsibility to respect others no matter who they are.
We are hoping that you will all use this information that we've prepared for you and take it to the next level. Ask yourself, how can I intentionally treat others with respect and kindness? What positive impacts can I have in Aggieland? How can I help someone who's being treated unkindly? How do I want people to remember me once I graduate? What will be my legacy? Remember to make the most of your Aggie experience and contribute positively to others' experiences here in Aggieland.
Here's our office's information if you'd like to learn more about ways you can get involved and learn about your culture and cultures different from your own. We hope you enjoy your NSC experience. Thanks and gig 'em.